Philly is a hard place to make it, man. If you can make it in Philly and New York, I would say that's another hard place to make it. You could pretty much make it anywhere because, like I said, it's hard to start up something and get everybody to believe in you. I'm Trozy Jordan, owner of Art Lair Shade Parlor. I'm 31 years old. I've owned Art Lair since I was 23 years old. It's been a super long journey. Um, we went through a lot of, team members and, different obstacles and stuff. And, I'm glad to still be here, you know, 7 years, 7 years in.
7 years.
Yep.
Wow. I like to remind people, they say most entrepreneurs fail in business between 3 to 5 business years.
Right. Yeah. Well, the first two.
Right.
That's what I heard.
Well, nevertheless, you've been in for 7.
Yep.
You've been in since
Strong 7.
7. So this is why we sitting here. I like for people to know the mind state of strong people.
Right.
Right? The mind state of entrepreneurs that been in the game, because they see in the world through the lens of people that's really just showing them the glitter. They're not really telling them the grit.
Right.
Right? So I
The
want to
back end
ask.
of the story.
That's right. That's right. The back end of the story. Because on social media, we only see people start and then they successes. We never see in between. Right?
Right.
So they're not portraying a real life. And that's what I like to give people, a real life. Right?
Exactly.
But nevertheless, I want to ask, what is your biggest upheavals been as far as starting a business? Like, I know we in Philadelphia. I know
Right.
you've seen a lot being in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Right? So being in the city, what is your biggest upheavals has been?
I would say as an entrepreneur, the fluctuation of business and the city of Philadelphia, man, they want their money as far as like the licensing and like tickets and stuff. My shop is downtown, so like a lot of stipulations as far as like starting up. Like be you need to get certified. There's so many things that need to be like in order before you start, and I feel like that kind of holds people back from really wanting to do a lot. So if you're talking about the start, um, yes, it's basically how difficult they make it to, you know, start off and actually have your paperwork right as to where they won't come after you,
Right.
type of thing. But other than that, um, the fluctuation, because as an entrepreneur, we might have a busy week, we might have a slow week, and that all depends on how much you work the week before, how much you promote it, how much put yourself out there. Yeah, that's like the hardest thing right there.
Yeah, you touched on a big point, and the reason, well, the point was your fluctuation, because a lot of people are trying to learn, how do I maintain a consistency, because they're afraid.
Right.
They're afraid that they're going to step into a world and it's not going to be consistent, and it's not. I want them to understand that it's not going to be consistent. It's not like you're going to see the same number every day.
Right.
Right? It's not like you're going to see the same clients every day, the
Right.
same return, the same revenue, the same benefit. It's more or less based off of the work you put in prerequisitely. I like that you touched on that.
Yep.
Right? Because before we transition into entrepreneurs, because we are transitioning to people that are aspiring towards generational wealth, and these people have to plan years in advance, months in advance, right?
Exactly.
And prerequisitely, maybe when we were in our jobs, maybe before we were entrepreneurs, we may have lived day to day or even week to week, right? And it's good that entrepreneurship trains you, right? Because
Exactly.
you have to. Your return this week will only be based off of the work you put in the week prior.
Right. And like you said, and to piggyback off the strong-minded thing, it takes a strong-minded person to have a slow week and still keep that momentum. Like, all right, I had a slow week. I still want to push this out, and do this. So,
I want to ask: do you think being in the city of Philadelphia, do you think that attributed to your strong mindset?
yeah, man. To be honest, I feel like Philly is a hard place to make it, man. If you can make it in Philly and New York, I would say that's another hard place to make it.
Mm-hmm.
You could pretty much make it anywhere because, like I said, it's hard to start up something and get everybody to believe in you on it. Like Philly is basically like we're kind of like standoffish as far as they talk about Southern hospitality. Like it's kind of the opposite up here. So when you're trying to get somebody to warm up to your business, it can be difficult sometimes. You know,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's how Philly is.
Well, you have definitely created a routine and a tradition around yourself to warm people up. And you got a nice walkthrough in your business, and I'm gonna take some time out today to make sure, right, that I get a few shots of the scenes and
Right.
make sure that I explore the minds of everybody here. And also, I wanna touch on just briefly, um, where do you see your brand in the next, right, in the near future? We ain't gonna put no limit on it, right? Where you see your brand in the near future?
So in the near future, I honestly try to focus on just scaling a lot more as far as understanding how to make this make the business work like clockwork. Because in a few beginning years, um, everything was pretty much just like a like trial and error,
Mm-hmm.
and I learned a lot about business and failing things. So now it's basically like the start of my scaling.
Mm-hmm.
Like probably should have been, but it's a learning
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
But yeah, just learning the back end of things as far as like online advertising and how to reach us like a certain market
Mm-hmm.
that is already looking for what we do. Like it gets real complicated as
Right.
far as technology. Technology is amazing now.
Versus trying to have a conversation with people who don't even want what you want.
Right.
Right? That's something, right, that we try to assist new entrepreneurs in having a conversation with people that are already aligned with the things that you want.